Today, we've got confirmation of plenty of upgrades to the new iPhone 16 series, on top of some shocking changes. Now let me know in the comments who out there is excited for the iPhone 16, and don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with the latest tech. So first up, we've got news of some big changes to iOS 18, and in terms of design, it's going to be making some drastic changes, which include translucent menus, which are similar to what we've seen in the new Vision OS. We've also got news of a new AI model that Apple is working on for editing images, and you can also ask it to improve or edit the image using text. So it's going to be capable of pretty much anything, including adjustments to brightness, color, contrast, and size. And we're also going to be able to do more advanced things like add textures, change backgrounds, and add new images. Now next up, we've got a tweet from Majin Buu, and he's given the battery capacities of all iPhone 16 models, and they feature a big increase across the board, apart from on the Plus model. Now the iPhone 16 gets a 3,561 mAh battery, which is up from the predecessor's 3,349. The 16 Plus gets a 4,006 mAh battery, which is down from last year's 4,383. The iPhone 16 Pro Max gets an upgrade to 4,676 mAh, which is up from last year's 4,422. And while last year's Plus model actually had the best battery life of all the iPhones, these changes should mean that the iPhone 16 Pro Max is going to have the best battery life in the lineup. Now next up, we've got more news on the capture button, and Apple are bringing DSLR and mirrorless camera features to the iPhone 16. Now last week, we covered how the new button would have the ability to control zoom by swiping across it, but it appears that it's also going to be used as a shutter button like a real camera. If you press it halfway, it's going to adjust and lock the focus, and then you can push it all the way down to either capture the image or start a video recording. And given that Apple are making a huge push for cinematography on the iPhones, this seems like a logical step. And when it comes to the new A18 chipset, it's appeared in leaked code for iOS 18. We now know that it's again going to be a 3nm chipset, but this time round it's being fabricated on TSMC's second generation process on the N3E node, and it will of course bring improvements to performance and efficiency. Next up, we've got another tweet from Majin Buu, who reveals the whole iPhone 16 lineup, and it shows some shocking changes to the design, but to be honest, I'm very skeptical on this one. As you can see from the images, they illustrate a lineup that are all looking very similar but with different upgrades. The iPhone SE has a single lens, the non-Pro models have a dual lens, and then the Pro models have 3 lenses and a LiDAR scanner, but all of them are in a new vertical layout. Now for me, this just doesn't look like an iPhone, and it also doesn't bring any advantage to the iPhone. For me, the only reasoning behind this change that I could think of would be if it was for internal space for the camera sensors, but personally, I'm just going to say disregard this information for now. Overall though, the iPhone 16 series is going to bring with it plenty of hardware upgrades, with the main focus seemingly being on software and new AI functions. And for those excited, we're now going to run through the full specs, design, and the expected pricing for each model in the range to help you guys decide which one is right for you. For my regular viewers, you guys have seen this, so just skip to the next video, but if you're new here, then hit subscribe now and we'll get right into it. So first up, we have the standard iPhone 16. And with the standard iPhone 16, we get a 6.3-inch OLED display, but unfortunately, this is still going to be an LTPS display. The iPhone 16 is going to have a taller aspect ratio than last year, and it's going to be protected by Ceramic Shield 2. We get the new Dynamic Island, which covers up the 12-megapixel selfie camera and Face ID sensors. Then on the rear, we've got a 12-megapixel primary camera and a 12-megapixel ultra-wide. It's powered by the A18 chipset, and it's likely coming with 6GB of RAM and up to 512GB of storage. It's also powered by a 3,450 mAh battery with 30W fast charging, and it's going to come with advanced 5G, Bluetooth 5.3, and Wi-Fi 7. Now it will of course ship with iOS 18 and is expected to launch from around $850 in September 2024. Now next up, we've got the iPhone 16 Plus. With the iPhone 16 Plus, we get a 6.9-inch OLED display, and again, unfortunately, this is another LTPS display. It's got a taller aspect ratio than its predecessor, and is protected by Ceramic Shield 2. We get the new Dynamic Island, which covers up the 12-megapixel selfie cameras and Face ID sensors. Then on the rear, we've got a 12-megapixel primary camera and a 12-megapixel ultra-wide. It's powered by the A18 chipset, and it's likely going to come with a choice of 6GB of RAM and up to 512GB of storage. It's powered by a 4420 mAh battery with 30W fast charging, and it comes with the advanced 5G, Bluetooth 5.3 and Wi-Fi 7. Now it of course ships with iOS 18, and it's expected to launch from around $950 in September 24. Next up, we've got the iPhone 16 Pro. Now the iPhone 16 Pro has a 6.3-inch 120Hz LTPO OLED display. It's got a taller aspect ratio than its predecessor, and the Pro is protected by Ceramic Shield 3. We get the new dynamic island, which covers up the 12MP selfie camera and Face ID sensors. Then on the rear, we get a 48MP primary camera, a 48MP ultra-wide camera, and then we've got a 12MP tetraprism camera with 5x optical zoom. It's powered up by the A18 Pro chipset, and it comes with 8GB of RAM and up to 1TB of storage. And it's also powered up by a 3450 mAh battery, and fast charging is still unknown at the moment, but we do expect some improvements. And of course, it comes with the advanced 5G, Bluetooth 5.3 and Wi-Fi 7. It will of course ship with iOS 18, and is expected to launch from around $1,100 in September 2024. Now finally, we save the best to last, the iPhone 16 Pro Max. With the iPhone 16 Pro Max, we get a 6.9-inch 120Hz LTPO OLED display. Again, like the other phones, it's got a taller aspect ratio than its predecessor, and is protected by Ceramic Shield 3. We get the dynamic island, which covers up the 12MP selfie cameras and Face ID sensors. And then on the rear, we've got a 48MP primary camera, a 48MP ultra-wide, and a 12MP tetraprism camera with 5x optical zoom. It's powered up by the A18 Pro chipset. It comes with 8GB of RAM and up to 1TB of storage, and it's powered up by a 4500 mAh battery. As with the 16 Pro, we don't know the fast charging at the moment, but we do expect to see some improvements. Now it comes with the advanced 5G, Bluetooth 5.3 and Wi-Fi 7, and it will of course ship with iOS 18, and this one's expected to launch around $1,300 in September 24. So overall, we've got plenty of upgrades to the whole iPhone 16 series, with larger displays, better cameras and better chipsets, but their focus is on software and AI. Now this will of course mean it's the same iPhone everyone knows and loves, but the day-to-day usage should be improved with a lot more options for photography and post-processing. Now because there are still so many similarities to the predecessor, I can't imagine anyone with an iPhone 15 is going to rush for an upgrade, but for anyone with an older iPhone or looking to get their first iPhone, it's going to be a great choice. Now of course, launch is still quite a way away, but as we approach it, more and more leaks are going to be coming in, and I'm going to be sharing them as soon as they do, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a thing in the future.